creating this hate and divisive and racism and white.
U.S. Department of Labor greenlights LGBTQ plus discrimination. Alt-left and alt-right clash in the Northwest. It's Happening Out talks tokens for Trump.
President Trump is not a racist.
It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Special guest host, International Mr. Leather 2019, Jack Thompson. Special guest, Republican political entertainer, Michael Fittro. With our host panel, lifestyle expert, Napoleon Plays. Trans activist, Aaron Phoenix. Reality star, Chef Josie. Diva Power Infiniti. DC Log Cabin Republican, Joe Brookman. And our moderator, Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Yeah! Woo! Man.
Well, good evening, America, and welcome to another exciting episode, Wednesday night at 8 o'clock live. That can only mean one thing. The most popular live gay talk show in America is here again.
We're back.
Welcome to It's Happening Out. We have had an amazing week. We're going to have a great show here tonight. Remember, we are coming to you live. We think about 500,000 plus of you are going to watch us tonight on the show, and we welcome you to what we constantly say is the gayest place on planet Earth. And we're sitting here, as you can see over my shoulder, the famous Wilton Drive in Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and our home, we're having like summer camp this summer at the wonderful Bubbles and Pearls restaurant and Josie, Chef Josie's restaurant, sitting right here next to me. Thank you again for having us at It's Happening Out.
Yeah. Smells so good in here.
Yeah, exactly. And we want to thank also tonight Big Coconut Guest House. We have several of our hosts and guests that stay at the Big Coconut, and we thank you very much. Now, as we do our show tonight, one of the most important things you can do is to share us. Let your friends know about the content you're going to see.
And your enemies.
And your enemies, too. And
you
have a lot of them, I understand.
Do I?
Wow,
Well, we're going to talk about that later.
Thought it was the rest of Mr. Rogers.
Start a watch party. And it's really easy to do. Share us. And in fact, Napoleon's going to show you how to do a watch party. Watch this.
When viewing our live show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can then click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch party. You've done it. Enjoy your party.
Okay, remember to like and share us, and it's how you propel our show. Well, first off, right off the bat, we have a special guest tonight. In fact, we have two special guests. Starting right at the top of the show, you recognize this gentleman over here. If you're in the leather community, you absolutely know who this gentleman is. This is Jack Thompson.
Yeah!
Jack Thompson, welcome.
Stop.
Welcome, Jack. As you can see on our slide here, Jack Thompson has just been crowned 2019's Mr. IML.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Woo!
sir.
Oh, yeah.
Really exciting. Not only is it historic, it's historic because he is the first trans man of color to win Mr. IML. Congratulations to you, Jack.
Thank you very much.
We're really thrilled to have you. Before we get into that, let us show you during the competition in Chicago over Memorial Day weekend. In the competition phase of doing a speech, we captured you, dude, as you were talking.
Oh, no.
America, watch this.
My whole life, I've been told that I am not enough. I'm not black enough,
not queer enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. Hell, there are people in this room right now who don't think I'm enough of a man to be allowed on this stage. Most of us feel like we aren't enough for something or someone at some point in our lives. But when I was being trained as a sex educator, I learned to ask one of the most important questions that I will ever ask. For who? I'm not leather enough? For who? I'm not submissive enough? For who? I'm going to tell you something that it took me nearly 30 years to learn. If you're enough for you, then you are enough. Period. That's the hard part. Looking at yourself in the mirror and actually knowing that you are enough. It is not easy. I do it every day. But when you finally see yourself as enough, no one can take that away from you. So when someone makes you feel like you aren't enough for them, ask yourself, am I enough for me? Because that's the only opinion that matters. I am Jack Thompson. I am a proud, biracial, transgender, HIV positive man, and I promise you, I am more than enough.
Yeah, that was incredible. Oh my God.
We told Jack today at our host meeting we were going to do him proud, and congratulations, production. I think you just did our entire community proud,
Yeah.
and so did you, Jack Thompson. I'm not a member of the trans community, and I'm not a member of the leather community. I'm a proud member of the gay community, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
That's actually the first time I've watched it all the way through at all. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like watching myself on screen half the time. I'm like,
tell
oh
us,
no.
tell us what that experience is like in terms of the challenge that you made to the gay community, especially to your leather brothers, in that I am enough, and basically screw you if you don't think I am. What was that moment like for you?
I mean, that exact moment is completely gone from my mind. I had listened to my speech, I recorded it, I listened to myself hearing it over and over again, and I just made sure that when I was up there, I was like, okay, did every word come out after every other word it was supposed to? Good, done, bye. Like I was so scared and nervous that I was just glad that it came out. I didn't remember anything that happened during it, but I feel like it's a cause that people can understand, no matter who you are or what your background is. Everyone has felt like they weren't enough for a job or a partner or something in their lives at some point. So it's something that we can all relate to.
Yes.
And you were.
I can't get enough of that speech. I want to hear it again. I didn't get enough.
Yeah.
Right?
That's amazing.
I had wanted to ask you with that. You said that this was something that you felt your whole life and not feeling enough. How we can all relate to that. And what we discussed before that, and what you discussed in your speech, goes into the idea of how you are now as a person and how you're going to move forward. That speech is, I think, the only one that got a standing ovation from the crowd that day, correct?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
That's not easy to do in a group of
Is
leather
that
men.
true?
No, yeah, that's the only one that did. It's
You say
not-
that so modestly. Yeah, I got the
I
only
didn't
standing
know.
ovation.
People had to tell me because you can't see anything
Oh, nice.
past that stage. So
Right.
I had no idea what was happening. I just walked off and was like, "Did I do okay?" Like I was.
America, I have to tell you, one other reason you may not be aware why this is a big moment that Jack Thompson is sitting here at It's Happening Out. We think that we have to overcome our broad community.
Yes.
Politics, the straight community, whatever you're going to define it as. There was quite a controversy in Jack Thompson becoming the first trans man of color, the winner of IML. In fact, when I was reading about you, that one of the preeminent individuals here in the southeastern United States coordinating leather clubs in the South made specific comments that somebody that was trans should not be a Mr. IML, and that's in our own community.
Yes.
How'd you feel about that when that happened?
I mean, honestly, I found out about it sort of like 15th hand. Like I hadn't even seen the actual post until it had already been taken down. Like they'd already deleted it, and it was all just screen posts at that point, which the first trans man who had ever won, Tyler McCormick, when he won 9 years ago, he had definitely gotten a lot more flack than I had, so I was expecting it to be far worse. So by the time I had found out about the controversy, there was already a huge movement of people being like, this is not okay, we support this person. And the hashtag, like, Jack is my IML had already started. So I had found out about it and been
Very nice.
Okay, like, and my first thought was, well, of course someone already said something, but also did anybody ask him or try to educate him on why that wasn't an okay statement? Because I'm always first and foremost, like, education, talk to somebody, see if we can find some common ground. And apparently they had, and he had doubled down. So I was like, okay, I don't care anymore.
Yes.
That's
And
fine.
to
Whatever
that point,
happens.
To that point of why this is so historic, Jack Thompson is here as a guest at It's Happening Out. First trans man of color to win this.
Woo!
He's here tonight on the show, and the chairman for the Southeastern United States, who made this comment that you're not man enough to be Mr. IML, was asked to resign. And he is no longer involved in the leather community.
Yep.
So you're here tonight, and he
He's
is not.
I have a question for you. Did you, when this whole controversy took place and you actually saw it, did you ever speak out publicly or say anything publicly?
I did. I finally did say something. This was all happening right immediately after IML. So I was a little dumbstruck in general. So I was taken back a bit. And finally I was like, to be fair, again, I thought that the aftermath of someone like me winning was going to be a far worse of an outcome. And so, thank you. So if I have to keep taking a few hits from people in the community that are either not educated or around these topics or are just ignorant around these topics and they don't think I belong here, to have a world community of leather folks, kinky folks, gay folks come together to say across the board, this behavior is not okay and we will not tolerate it, I'll keep taking some hits.
Yeah,
I'll keep
absolutely.
taking them.
Absolutely.
I can take them more than some other folks can or have the ability to if it means that it brought our whole community together.
Absolutely.
That's totally fine.
And that is a good soundbite. That's a good soundbite to say that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. We're going to educate and have fun, and we're really happy that Jack Thompson is with us tonight here.
I'm happy to be here. This has been awesome.
All right, let's start with some fun. First is our meme of the week. We always start our show, and Dora is our meme this week. Dora the Explorer, the movie's out.
No.
Can you say coño?
You do that.
To all of the Spanish speakers out there, coño. Oh, wait. I'm going to get
the
this
question
wrong.
is, can you say it?
Jack, can you say it?
Can you say
Wait.
Al goes to every country in the world and refuses to learn the language. Refuses at all. See.
You know, this is not the way the show is supposed to start, where I guess maybe it is. For everyone's understanding, coño means shit or fuck. And the joke here is that Dora is being taken away and she's saying, can you say coño? And so that's our meme of the week. Then we move into the best thing of the week. We try to bring you something that is fun. Equity Cares on Broadway. Broadway's Equity Cares. Well, they have this thing on Broadway with the equity community of Broadway actors and dancers called Broadway Bears. And we watched this week. Yeah. Watch this.
Let me see you get naughty. Feels like a tight squeeze, so please remain seated with your seatbelts strapped while our ground crew guides the entry. Temperature is a whopping hot AF. The steam off the tarmac is so thick, we're gonna need a push in from the boys out there. Make me feel for flying Bears Air.
That was a lot of fun.
Woo.
So everybody, that was Broadway Bears, and it always goes to benefit different charities, and we can also find charities in our local groups. Right down here in South Florida, we have a Broadway Bears spinoff, and you can probably find one in your local town too. So go out there, find some naked guys, and have a lot of fun giving back.
It was fun. All right, before we move into our celebrity hot topics, I got a little piece that was challenged last week, and the cast doesn't know about it, but this is called Jared Curry, Play It Back.
Oh.
And last week we had a specific challenge on the show, and it was very specific, and sometimes this happens, and one of our castmates says, Jared Curry, next week, play it back. So it's next week, and here we go. Watch this. In the 1980s, the segregation of the gay community principally over AIDS, and silence equaled death. I remind you, Ronald Reagan never said the word AIDS in 8 years of his presidency.
Not true.
Quickly, I would just like to say, when Al was speaking, and Al got to the point where he said, and I don't want to go off track, but I do have to say this, when Al got to the point where he said that President Reagan never said the word AIDS, did I hear you correctly when you say it's not true?
It was, yes.
It's not true?
In the first 2 years, he did not say that, but he came around and talked about it.
I would like you, okay, Jared Curry, please take note of this so we can roll it back. I will roll it back. I would like you, and I will be man enough and queen enough to say I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I would like you to pull up a video or anything showing where Ronald Reagan said the word AIDS so that we can show this here.
Would you support a massive government research program against AIDS like the one that President Nixon launched against cancer?
I have been supporting it for more than 4 years now. It will amount to over $500 million that we have provided for research on AIDS. I want to talk tonight about the disease that has brought us all together. It has been talked about, and I'm going to continue. The true men of action in our times are not the politicians and statesmen, but the scientists. I believe that's especially true when it comes to the AIDS epidemic. Only medical science can ever truly defeat AIDS. To think we didn't even know we had a disease until June of 1981 when 5 cases appeared in California. The AIDS virus itself was discovered in 1984. Just think that the day I was sworn in as president, we didn't even know that AIDS existed. I will do all that God gives us the power to do to find a cure for AIDS. Today, we're taking another big step against AIDS.
Well, America, I have to start at the pyramid before I take him off the hook. I was completely wrong. 100% wrong. And I have said that my entire life. Completely wrong.
Oh my God.
Now,
that's
with that
merchandise,
said,
folks. We can
let's
make
see
money
if
off
he's
that.
man enough
Make a t-shirt.
and queen enough.
Oh, I was completely wrong too.
Sis, are you okay?
And this is TV gold because I don't like to ever say
I know that's why we're going to keep this in the vault. Right. By the way, our 1-year anniversary is September 25, and I guarantee this moment will be in Jared Curry. Play it back.
Oh yeah, I'm going to say it right now.
All right.
Jared Curry, play it back, record them both having said that they were wrong. Sell it as an iTunes song.
I've never seen you squirm like that.
Remix that.
I know, I'm hot.
All right. Did you know that was coming? Did you remember it?
I had actually done my research, and I was going to be man enough to bring it up.
Oh, okay.
Myself, but
I believe that.
Yes, but last week, obviously, we got distracted.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I want to remind you, have you shared us? Have you started a watch party? We're going to do a lot of interesting content tonight. First off, we want to do a follow-up. That was the... Did you say you hate us?
I hate you guys.
Oh, that just chills me to my bones.
I was
Very
actually hoping that would fly under the radar. No, not my team.
Right,
fidgeting
right.
here.
All right, we want to do one other update. Remember, we've done a lot of reporting about the mass shootings in El Paso and Ohio. something very strange happened this week. The Second Amendment was tested to the max in a Walmart in Springfield, Missouri. Watch this. Watch what happened.
Now to that chaos at a Missouri Walmart. A man in military-style clothing carrying tactical weapons, walking into a store, of course, sending customers fleeing.
This morning, another American town on edge. Watch as a young man donning body armor, military fatigues, and carrying an assault rifle approaches Missouri police with his hands in the air, eventually dropping to his knees, surrendering.
Male wearing a bulletproof vest and an AR around his neck has just walked into the store and is recording himself.
The recent threat coming just days after a weekend of deadly shootings, one occurring at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, that left 22 people dead. Thankfully, no one in Springfield was injured, the Walmart manager pulling a fire alarm, urging shoppers and customers to flee. And we don't know of any motive just yet, but just this week, the FBI held a call with law enforcement agencies across the country and said they remain, quote, concerned that U.S.-based domestic violent extremists could become inspired by this weekend's attack.
We are a country on edge.
Well, as you can see, Dmitry Andreychenko basically has said that he was testing his Second Amendment rights. Missouri is an open carry state. And what that means, 30 states like Missouri, including our home state of Florida, if you have a concealed weapons permit, you are allowed in these 30 states in Missouri to carry a weapon openly. And that's what he was testing his Second Amendment right for. He carried a high-capacity rifle and 100 rounds as he walked around shopping in the Walmart and created this panic. We do not know what's going to happen yet, but he did test the amendment, and we're going to see what happens. Likely he's going to get away with it. Any thoughts in our follow-up?
We at It's Happening Out would like to tell our audience, black people, people of color, Muslims, don't try this at home.
Yeah,
No.
do not. Right?
Because
you will leave in a
You
body
would have
bag.
not gotten to your knees at that point.
He was able to come out of this alive. Y'all wouldn't.
You know,
Nope.
Another
interesting to
example.
your observation, the district attorney in Springfield, Missouri, said to a local television station, if this would have happened before El Paso, the police probably would not have even been involved.
Nope.
It would have been completely acceptable. The only reason it raised alarm was because of El Paso. Any other thoughts? Our world is crazy. Can we just agree to that?
Tune in next week to who got into the gun
In
violence.
this craziness, how do you balance this
Love
craziness? It's the way you balance it is you do shots in I'd Swallow That.
Yeah.
So let's play I'd Swallow That. I'm not sure if other people are playing. Are we
Are
not?
we playing
okay.
at home?
You wanna play?
All right, we're not. So play I'd Swallow
let's
That at
play.
home. I'm going to ask 3 questions. If you agree at home, and our hosts here at the table, you take the shot. If you don't touch the shot. Everybody understand the
just
rules?
So it's a prize.
It's a prize.
It's a prize as
The
opposed to a
vodka
punishment.
Is your
Okay,
prize.
I got it.
Exactly.
Well,
all right.
Right.
All right.
We'll talk later.
All right. Here
I'm
we
used to
go.
punishment.
I'd swallow that. Question number 1. There are some people that are strictly fuck buddies. And I would never take them home to my family or introduce them to my friends.
Cheers to that.
Isn't that how you start with everybody?
Can I answer that in the past tense?
Past tense.
Okay, yeah.
Now you can drink.
I learned my lesson after.
Share your wisdom.
Oh, wait a minute.
Power. We always have
Wait
our
a minute.
future together.
Have
Don't
have
worry.
you just shamed me over the relationship line that you just drove? Wait, can I take my... Oh, wait. Past tense.
Yes, past.
Okay. All right.
Distinctions.
Napoleon, why did you take that shot? I'm curious.
How could you not? Of course there are fuck
I
buddies.
know
There
your
are-
mother.
Yeah, I know my mother too. Hi out there, Mom.
Hi,
Mom.
right now.
Yeah, she's met all of you. She
Yeah.
knows that I have sex with people that I am safe with, and I have safe, consensual sex with that I don't know. And that's my fetish. I like new people. I like new
there's
things.
a lot of facts coming out of your mouth right now.
Because we're
mentioning
talking
your
about
mother.
sex, usually something is going in.
Okay. All right.
I'm
all right.
taking notes. By
Yeah,
the way.
are you? Oh, good.
I'd
All right.
swallow that. Let's move on. Question number 2. I'd swallow that. I could date someone that was still in the closet.
Oh.
Date?
I mean,
Date.
I could, but
Like,
you know, would
like
it last?
date, like go out, or like I
No,
could.
ma'am.
No,
I've
no,
learned my lesson
you're getting
already.
too technical. I could date somebody that was in the closet. Yes or no? If it's yes, take a shot.
Absolutely yes. Think of how much fun it could be. And I don't mean like pushing them out of the closet, but there could be so many games. You get to kind of hide and seek and sneak again. That was part of the fun.
I used to think the same way until it happened to me. No, never again.
I don't
Now,
have.
wait,
patience.
hold
What
on. What's
happened?
that? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Explain that to me.
Oh my
I don't
goodness!
know.
It was just the worst, because when you're dating somebody that is not sure of who they are, and they have not arrived to that place, they have to go on their own journey. And in the meantime, they're pushing you away, pulling you to them, pushing you away. It's just too much on your heartstrings. So
I will
never
say it
again.
definitely depends on where they're at in that journey for sure,
Yeah.
because it's a lot to go through. Tomcat came out of the closet because we started dating and got serious.
It's funny that you mentioned that. America, we
Hey,
invite
Tomcat.
you to comment in our string. Thousands and thousands and thousands of you are watching. Tomcat is in the string.
Yeah.
And I just read how much he's laughing at this very moment. He's
My
telling
husband
us that.
pulled me out of the closet because I didn't date men before my husband. So every single moment was like, we're just friends.
Oh, he recruited
We're
you then.
just friends. And he's like, we're going to go on a date. I'm like, it's not a date. We're just friends.
Okay.
And then
so-
eventually.
How very
So,
toxically
Jack,
masculine.
you have a partner. Okay, I'm looking at your rig.
Indeed.
Assume for a second he's not in the picture. Could you date somebody now that was in the closet with as out as you are?
Hey. I think
That's
that
why, by
trying
the
to
way,
date me
that's why
while
the
you're
two
in the
leather
closet
guys are
is
in
real
opposite.
difficult.
Wait, say again.
Dating me right now as
This?
with,
You're all this?
with all this, I don't think you have the option of being in the closet.
By
You
the
get
way-
seen with me, it's going to be like, oh, you're automatically assumed that you're
By
gay.
the way, America, I want to tell you something that we've all agreed that we're doing. There is a fantastic leather bar here in South Florida called Ramrod.
Yeah, Ramrod.
And by the way, let me
Yeah.
put the plug in. We have Mr. Ramrod in the room right now. And we send
Sexy.
Mr. Ramrod respect.
Love you, brother.
At the end of this show, we are going to Ramrod, and we're going to have some fun.
See you there.
And what's really exciting to me, because this is not my community, Jack has said whatever that is that's around his neck, he's giving that to me tonight.
Oh, sure. That's it's made of chocolate.
Wait.
Right.
I kind of want to test this. Let's go to Ramrod and see how many people could possibly think that Al is Mr. IML 2019. If even 5 people believe that, let's place a bet right here.
I
will bribe
swear to
people
God, I
again.
can't even get a fucking joke out with getting
$2.15 on the board
Right.
right now.
No, but
Do
you
it.
want to know what? Also about dating people in the closet, that also speaks to yourself. Like whether or not you're emotionally available.
Yeah.
I mean, forever I was dating straight women and
That's how you feel about that. Okay.
That's the alarm, by the way, America, that we have when
That was
anyone
straight women
says
silencing
dating
you.
straight women.
Yeah.
The alarm goes off.
Oh, my
okay.
God.
And you know, my friends always said to me, well, you want to find a relationship, but you can't find a relationship with a straight girl. And well, I finally found a lesbian. I
Challenge
married her.
accepted.
And by the way,
We're all
I
thankful
always
for
say this,
Marcy.
America, come down to South Florida and come to Bubbles and Pearls and eat first. This place is awesome.
Thank
Wilton
you.
Manors is awesome. South Florida is the greatest gay community in the world. Come down
I'm
here.
having a great
And when you
time.
do, then one of the top things you should do, honestly, is come meet Josie's wife, Marcy. She is amazing.
Yeah.
She's a lot
Question
of
number
fun.
3. I'd swallow that. Question 3. I'd swallow that. Great personality, or this is really a very personal question.
Oh, God.
Because
Great
already out of the running.
personality or sense of humor can be sexier than abs.
Oh yeah. Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Really? For
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Light.
Explain that to me.
So, as an ex-stand-up comic, I find a sense of humor very attractive. Like, I have been completely
Wait,
unattracted
you're
to
a
somebody.
stand-up comic?
I used to be, yes.
Oh, all right.
As I have been completely unattracted to somebody before with that no physical attraction whatsoever, and after getting to know them and us like laughing till we cry and understanding like how much stuff you can get into in that way, totally had sex with them. Didn't yet. I am far more attracted to somebody's personality for the most part than I am to them.
You know, that's an interesting observation because it makes me want to turn at the table to Napoleon and go, Napoleon, you're one of the most unfunny people I've ever met in my life. So you're not very attractive?
Oh no, you're hot because you're a nerd. That's where I'm just saying. Like,
Dad, you're taking my power away.
Oh, it's because it's a brotherhood, Al. He's not going to let you attack me.
Blah, blah,
in
blah.
solidarity.
Nerd love.
That's anything else?
Al,
Anybody else?
you have no idea how outnumbered you are in so many directions.
I mean, I love abs. Don't get me wrong. Like, but you know,
why not all three?
Yeah. If you have abs and a sense of humor and you're a nerd, I'm.
Oh, we're talking about Henry Cavill again.
Yes.
Dude, that only reflects that you're greedy.
I am greedy as fuck.
What's wrong with
very
that?
aware of
Right,
that.
exactly. All right, that's our game. I'd swallow that. Let's move into our celebrity hotlines. Hot topic. Uh-oh.
If you need help
I
with
did
your
all
celebrity,
three
call
shots,
the celebrity
America.
hotline.
Celebrity hot topics. First off, have you heard? Pose's MJ Rodriguez has won the Best Actress at the Image Award, and it makes her great
That's
in
really
terms
cool.
of a trans winning Best Actress.
Yes.
Congratulations to MJ.
Yes.
Unless anybody has any specific comments beyond the congratulations, I'm going to move on.
Keep it up, girl.
But congratulations.
Got it.
Second, big news in celebrity hot topics. Have you heard Love, Simon? I love that movie. I love that
It was
movie.
so cute.
Love, Simon is coming to Disney as a weekly series. Wait for it. Both characters in Love, Simon, in this beautiful love story about two gay teenage boys, are played by straight men.
Of course they are.
Irony? In fact, one of them, the picture you see in the purple, is Cuba Gooding's son. What do y'all think about that? Straight guy.
That's the part that pisses me off. It's not just about being straight. It's the what is the you inherit it and so you can be the lawyer at your the whatever thing that Trump does.
Right.
Nepotism, the thing that doesn't matter because it doesn't in the White House.
So, yeah.
that I can't believe that happens so often in Hollywood because he might be a good actor, but
You're just
probably.
jealous
Well,
you didn't get the role.
Very jealous.
look at him.
Very.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would
Right.
much rather
Good
he's
genes.
much cuter
Right.
than Cuba.
Exactly.
But also, one of my favorite actors, John Barrowman, who, Torchwood, Doctor Who,
you're
Arrow.
a geek, too?
I'm a total geek.
Don't do it.
He auditioned to play Will on Will and Grace.
You just became so sexy. Wow. Wow.
But then he didn't get the role because he was too straight acting, and then they gave it to a guy who is actually straight. So, granted, I can't see him as anything else but Will now, so there's that.
Well-
but it's also like,
That's a cruel
Here's
irony.
here's the question here on Love, Simon at Disney. Now, first off, come on, America. Disney is the gayest business on planet. There's no question.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're even doing the weekly series, we applaud that. We love
Right.
that.
Visibility.
But
visibility matters.
they couldn't find two gay guys to play the roles.
I mean,
They could.
honestly.
It's
I
just
think
easier with that gay for pay thing, And I mean, we see it all the time. I'm just saying.
Gay for pay
Okay.
in television.
I'm not hating on them because they're straight. My thing would be, it would really only matter if they passed up better gay actors for the straight.
Right.
They
Well, we
probably
have.
do.
We never hear about
I really believe that it's all about who is the best for the role, and if it just so happens to be a straight person,
Well,
what I
I mean,
would
at the
take
end of
issue
the-
with,
at the end
what
of
I
the
would
day,
take
yeah.
issue with is if they are passing up qualified gay actors to give it to
All right.
the straight.
So look at the slide again. We're getting the privilege.
We're
of
not
being able to
bothered
watch
by
the
it.
slide. Simon in that picture with the blue shirt.
just because you have
was
abs doesn't
successful.
mean you're the best gay actor.
He was-
Hey,
It
maybe
means
he
you're
has
a
a
good
good
model.
Maybe
All
he
right.
has a good personality, and maybe he's
Oh
straight.
no!
Sure he does.
Personality.
Personality.
Right.
Sure
All
he
right.
does.
Let's move on. Celebrity hot topics. Netflix. By the way, I have fallen in love with Netflix.
Oh,
I have
me
become
too. I
such
love it.
a geek. They have a new special featuring Ryan O'Connell. He is the gay man with cerebral palsy. It has been green-lighted
I love this special.
for a second season. Remember Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory?
Sheldon.
Exactly. He's behind it, executive producer. It's coming. What do y'all think about the cerebral palsy storyline?
I love
for
this
gay?
show.
Do you?
Mostly because
amazing.
the other characters are so they're it's dry comedy in that way where you're like, I don't know if you're kidding or not.
Yeah.
And I
That
love
gets me
that.
in trouble a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you don't know if I'm being sarcastic because I'm just that dry about it.
You
And
know,
I love that so much.
To your observation, I want to challenge this. Please don't bruise me too badly.
You can bruise me.
Parsons made the observation that I agree with. Jim Parsons did a conversation that a lot of gay guys, including him, don't like the series because they don't like the cerebral palsy aspect of the show.
Oh my God, I'm about
And
to slap you
have
right
to-
now.
I know. It's totally
offended.
inappropriate. I make the observation. I don't like that I'm even saying it, much less feel that.
You know, it's funny.
What is it about us?
That's really a reflection of something that we deal with in our society, not just in the gay community, but at the end of the day, we don't really seem to realize, and myself included, how much people who are differently abled deal with that lack of privilege and that lack of access and that lack of inclusion way more than we ever realize.
Hell, that lack of sex. People look over, like, I have so many friends that go to, like, the leather and kink community are filled with people who are differently abled, with invisible disabilities, with very visible disabilities, who have to deal with the fact that as soon as you disclose in any sort of conversation about a scene you might be with someone, that you have some level of disability, whether that's PTSD or you're in a wheelchair, as someone, you are very afraid, and it's very likely someone will be like, well, I don't want to play with you now. And that's bullshit. Because it doesn't change what you are willing to do with that person if you find them attractive, if you're willing to have that scene with them.
And you know what? And
That's
what's
such
the
a
big
good
fucking
observation.
difference?
Well, and you know, when you said the words, I don't want to play with you now, I've heard that so many times. I have PTSD. I also have invisible, pain-related disabilities, and musculoskeletal shit. But that has been said to me in different ways, in so many different avenues, so many different atmospheres, not just with sex, but just in general. I don't want to play with you anymore, meaning I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to be seen with you. I'm embarrassed by you.
Well, I mean, this can go all the way back to medieval times, guys. Okay, people who are different are outcasts, right? And we continue to nurture that type of. What is it that I'm trying to say exactly? But we're nurturing that kind of philosophy within our own society.
Of how being other is somehow
it's
worse.
different.
If you're not normal, whatever the hell
look
that
at this
is.
table. We're all different people. We're all weird. We're all outcasts. That's why we're here at this. That's why this show exists. And yet,
I don't know what
we're.
you're talking about. I ain't no outcast.
No, you're the most normal one here. But we're all here for a reason, and yet we are still telling someone, I don't want to play with that person because of that. I'm like, but why?
Napoleon's trying to get.
There could. I mean, as it comes to sex, there could definitely be reasons why, and you know as well as I do that if you don't want to, you might not feel like you have the ability to. You might not feel experienced enough to deal with some of the complications that come with what their disability could be or what their abilities are. So I know personally, for example, I wouldn't want to get with somebody where I think I'm going to hurt them. It's happened in the past, and I don't want to be that irresponsible.
You know, that's valid. You know,
That's
I think
valid.
really
That is
valid.
I have to
Now
tell
I
you.
feel guilty.
Good. I have to tell you, to that point, feeling guilty, I have to tell you, I have waves of shame washing over me right now.
Really?
Only now?
I'm serious. I'm watching Glee. In just the last week, I decided I want to go back and watch Glee. And I started with episode 1 of Glee. I'm through almost the first season. Glee was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And Glee was ahead of its time because it challenged you in terms of masculinity, football players, people in wheelchairs, drag queens, trans, all kinds of different ways. And Ryan Murphy was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
He's
when
still
I
ahead of his
first
time.
watched the show, and I loved it, I had Unique on my cruise, on my RuPaul cruise. But Glee is washing over me because I identify with the football players. And as I watch Glee now, 10 years later from the first season, I go, oh my God, that's who I was. And today, I have understanding, I don't like that person anymore. And I'm trying to find ways to, first, be forgiven, and second, to forgive myself. And that's what I express here. he is in a modern way, Jim Parsons is showing us, why do you think this way? Because the way you think is what the problem is. The person that has cerebral palsy is not the problem. The person reacting to the
Have you watched the show?
Yes.
So I appreciate a lot of that show because there's a lot of self-inflicted shame where he doesn't talk about his own disability because he's afraid other people will have issues with it. And I've definitely been there where I have not talked about things about myself in situations because I was afraid of things. And so you're not even allowing someone else to have the option to say yes or no to play with you.
Yeah.
Because you've never told them what your entire story is.
Yeah.
You've never told them, like, you won't hurt me because I know exactly how to deal with my own disabilities in this scene.
Yeah.
Well,
You've never given them the chance to.
It comes back to that
You're gonna do
conversation.
20 more seconds.
It comes back to the conversation of I'm not enough.
Right.
And so we continue to add on that and build on it, and disability adds to that conversation.
Yep.
You know, and I just want to tell you, because I said 20 more seconds, because we're going to move into headlines. I want to tell you something that's interesting to me, to your point. You're Mr. IML.
Yes.
And my reaction was, yeah, so? And then multiple people in our production office said, wait, you should understand why this is important. Watch this. And I watched that video, and I put the headsets on. David Hopkins, thank you very much. I put the headsets on, and it was all I could do not to jump out of my skin. Because I realized, oh my gosh, why do I feel this way about the leather community? It's stupid. And I shamed myself for feeling that way because you challenged me in a different way. You should be my top ally, Al. You should be my top ally, Al. I tell you, for the rest of my life, I'm going to try to be your top allies for the rest of my life.
How about commit to it?
Commit.
Yeah.
I commit
Yeah.
to being there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
Let's
No,
move out
I've
of-
never in my life been moved to hug you before.
I-
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
what I just
Appreciate
said.
that.
I'm going to make you
promise.
pinky swear to that later.
All right.
Like,
Let's move out of our celebrity hot topics into headlines. We've got many hot topic or many headlines that we want to talk about. First off, Trump has proposed a new rule for federal contractors that allows discrimination of religious objection.
Can I
Show
bang
you
my
the
head
slide
against the
here. It's not just aimed at gay, LGBT. It's aimed at race and other kinds of things. So we just tell you, President Trump, by the way, and we'll talk about it probably next week, but breaking news this today, but we don't have enough information to talk about it today. Trump has just done an interview today saying that he is a gay icon.
Oh my God.
And we're going to talk about it.
Oh my God.
And we're going to talk about that.
And I thought Dan Savage was a bad choice.
Right.
Oh.
Next in headlines, we want to tell you
my
about.
God.
I know.
You're right over
You're
that.
killing me right
we,
now. Okay?
we want to talk about what's going on in terms of peaceful protest. There's defacing of MAGA supporters on $20 bills going on. And there's a lot of conversation about it. We're showing it here. Supporters in the 2020 campaign are taking $20 bills, pointing to the first 20 and the second 20, and putting the president's name in between.
And it looks like 8-year-olds are writing. So I don't know.
That's why I'm concerned about this, because this is a protest movement. But isn't defacing federal currency also a crime?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
whether or not that matters, it's still committing a crime to support the president. What does that say about you and your actions?
Listen, so
I'm
are
sorry. It means you're going to get a cabinet position. My
a
bad.
lot of protest actions are against the law.
Yeah.
Okay, that's part of the thing of protest is you're subverting some shit. You're going to shake up the rules and you're going to challenge the rules sometimes by breaking them.
Yeah.
I'm someone who has been there now on a completely different side, obviously. And here's the thing. Okay, first of all I haven't seen a single 20 with the word Trump on it. So maybe your movement's not really spreading as far as you think it is. That's one. But two, I mean, you know what? Cool, great. I'm glad that they found a way to express themselves and their views. I hope that a lot of us do get these $20 bills in our
we can
pocket.
rip 'em up.
So that we can sit there and go, oh shit, this is still real. These people are still, they're going to the voting polls, people. Whether or not you take them seriously or you think they're just stupid or they're
We're
just
gonna
crazy,
show you something about
they're
that in a little
going to
bit.
be voting. So I hope you are
Well,
too.
you know,
Otherwise,
first of all, this is a crime, like Napoleon said, that you're not really going to be able to ever catch the criminal. So I guess that, if I was to get a $20 bill like that, I'd just add to the crime and just add $20, 20 years for obstruction, $20.
I mean, if I use that bill to buy drugs,
and just keep it going.
does that make it balance it out?
Yeah, let's move on to other headlines. But one final note. Let's provide some balance that it's happening out. Do you remember for 20 years stamping pink dollars, pink money on our money? That's how we brought gay to
ordered
the
on
forefront.
Etsy a stamp of, I think it was Harriet Tubman, who's supposed to be going on the $20 bill at some point, and they put it off. So there's a stamp being sold that you could put her on the $20 bill now.
Yeah.
Wait, what was this? Sounds like
shame.
gay culture I'm not aware of. People used to stamp
You used to stamp money and show that
Pat,
this
pat.
is pink dollars and that gay money is circulating through the economy and we are worthwhile. It was very popular in the 80s.
So they
and
stole
90s.
our move, is really what we're saying.
And
All right.
to Gay 101. There you go.
Right. All right.
You're welcome.
Other headlines in the news. This weekend, there were many clashes in Portland. In the Pacific Northwest, you see this slide about the Proud Boys versus the alt-right. And
The Proud Boys are the alt-right.
Yeah, actually, the very conservative left, and AntiFa, and the right. Lots of things going on it, and we want to show you a short video about what happened this weekend. Watch this.
Violent clashes broke out this weekend in Portland, Oregon. Police say 4 people were arrested during demonstrations. The dueling protests involved anti-fascists known as AntiFa and right-wing groups.
It was a challenge to separate Antifa and the Patriot Prayer Group from clashing. The pepper spray was flying. Sometimes bottles and other objects got tossed into the crowd. There were shields in the crowd, and police confiscated what weapons they could. Those protesting Patriot Prayer told us they originally started this as a protest against police.
The protest was about police brutality, and that's something that has been pretty prevalent in my life.
We came out here to protest police violence. They came out here to taunt us.
Then it became about taking a stand against the other group.
They are the epitome of Trump supporters.
Group over there definitely changed the atmosphere.
Fascism loses always, and because they hate everybody and promote racist ideologies, and they're homophobic.
Well, quite a significant event in Portland. Portland is a very liberal city, which is what caught everybody by surprise. Any quick thoughts in terms of what we're seeing?
As far as Antifa goes, Antifa stands for anti-fascism. You're supposed to be against fascists. So as far as I'm concerned, yay, Antifa, bitch.
Yes.
I don't give a damn.
Here's what's terrifying about this. This is a big moment to me in American history because right now what Trump is trying to do is threatening to declare this protest group as terrorists. De facto, what that means is that the freedom to protest is slowly already being taken away from us.
It won't be long until me sitting here saying that things I do as an activist are terrorism.
Can I
can't protest anymore.
Can I provide context to what you just said? I understand what you just said. I'm fearful of that too. The only way that can happen is if the Supreme Court takes away your right to assembly. Yeah. The only way the Supreme Court can do that is who appoints Supreme Court justices to vote that way. The only way that can happen is who the President of the United States is.
Which means we're close to it right now.
And when I make this observation to you, not you personally, but to the millennial representation in our community, I get blank Bambi stares because they do not realize this is how you lose your rights.
Elections
We're close. We're not that far away from that, though.
One more thing to say on that, though.
Okay, and then we're moving on.
Sure. Portland was targeted because they are such a liberal area. This was specifically said from the anti-protest group, which is a protest group from Proud Guys. Proud Boys. I'm sorry,
The new Nazis, by the way.
Yes, the leader of that said they targeted Portland because they didn't like the mayor, and in short, that bringing down that type of liberal empire would send a signal to the rest of the country.
They did the same thing in Berkeley a few years ago, my hometown. Like Berkeley is always targeted for protests. for the same
We're
reasons.
definitely going to talk about Civil War in a few moments. Other headlines in the news: tokenism. We are going to
Hey, everybody. Hey.
wait.
That was the working title for our show before we
Tokenism was the first
Yeah, it was the working
inclination
title.
of it's happening out.
Yeah, we decided
Not
on
the
it's
character
happening
from
out, it was a
South
little
Park. It's a different.
inflammatory.
America, I just want to point out, privileged white guy. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Of course.
All right. So, headlines in the news. We want to talk about and frequently talk about what they are doing in terms of tokens. The tokens in the American society right now are black, gay, Jews, potentially women, Latinos. They're representing
Potentially
different
women.
party
Right,
representations.
are we like just not sitting
in
right
a
here?
token
We're not
way.
sitting right here, right now. Okay, just checking.
Um,
Right.
Two big examples are Dr. Martin Luther King's niece, Alveda King, and in the gay community, Milo. He's he's the writer in Straight Pride. These are tokens, we think. So watch what King said, Alveda King, Dr. King said about racism and why she is not a token. Watch this.
Well, I'm hearing this rhetoric and calling our president a racist. President Trump is not a racist. I've had the experience of going head to head with genuine racists back in the 20th century. I was a youth organizer at the time. My uncle, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, was killed. My dad, A.D. King, killed the next year. And a racist is a person who really does believe that their race, their category of humanity is superior or different. And Beto, Biden, and all of them are saying, why doesn't he renounce or denounce white supremacy, which he's done several times. They're not even being honest, saying he hasn't. One thing that really is getting to me, and I'd like for you to look into this, the race baiters who want to stir up fear and hate and make us think that we're different when we're one blood and one human race. President Trump says we all bleed the same. He's very clear on that. And he has done so much for all Americans, including African Americans. But President Trump is not a racist. He's not a white supremacist.
Well, America, she doesn't sound crazy to me.
Right.
She sounds crazy to me.
She sounds like my crazy auntie that sits in her house all day with her cat.
She sounds crazy
I don't know.
What do you think?
Sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know, in every family you have somebody whose cornbread ain't baked all the way through to the middle. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's no shade to Dr. King's family, but she's a coon. I'm sorry, she's a coon. All right.
Well, define coon, please, for America.
A coon coming from a white person would be racist. A black person, we call other black people that sell us out to white people coons. She's a coon.
Mm-hmm.
And just to talk about actual tokenism, I believe tokens are like Trojan horses. They are sent into behind enemy lines to try to disrupt and try to infiltrate that community, that race, that ideology.
Right, yeah.
Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. So she is, like you had said, Al had said earlier today in our pre-production meeting, she is not really speaking to those of us that know better, those of us that God gave the sense that he would give a billy goat. She's speaking to those people that actually are weak-minded enough. The chickens for nuggets. That's what she's.
Yes. No, that's
Power just went there.
Yeah.
Woo!
Are there any other thoughts?
No, let's leave it
that
there.
that was exactly well said. Anytime any single person says that Trump is not a racist, I'm like, so you don't have ears or eyes or anything.
Well,
should I be helping you across the street? Like, do you need help? Are you okay? Because I don't. You can't be a sane human being and hear anything or know anything about our government and know about our president and think that Donald Trump is not a racist. There's not one part of you that can think
I'm
that.
going to have to disagree with you there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, everybody thought we're trans, so we were going to agree on everything.
Oh, no, I'm ready. Let's do this.
I thought you two were the same people.
I know. It's very tough for you. I understand.
I wish I had your hair.
Oh, thanks.
I really do. Like,
So... I wish I had your title, but we'll go there. I think you win.
Hashtag truth.
She brought up genuine racists, right? And like, I get where she's coming from, and this is, I think, the problem with. I think this is why a lot of white people or cisgender people or straight people have a hard time really understanding their part in perpetuating things that might be racist. If we think of racists as being monstrous people, if we think of racists as being only the Archie Bunkers, right, or only the Proud Boys who are out in the streets trying to hurt people, if we think those are the only racists, then that takes us off the hook. And as a white Latino, which that's a problematic community, let me tell you, when it comes to conversations of race, we feel like we can divorce ourselves from, oh, well, that's a real racist. I'm not intentional in my hatefulness, or it doesn't matter how intentional you are. There's layers, there's levels
What
to
I'm
it.
learning, by the way.
Right, exactly. And you can challenge these things. You can subvert these ideologies, if you will, that we were all raised with. But if you can't sit there and say, maybe I was raised with some problematic shit, and be able to analyze it, then we can't get anywhere.
Let me put your
20 more
what you're
seconds.
saying into a soundbite.
Oh, your ex is back.
Let me put it into a soundbite. Maybe Donald Trump is a closeted racist.
Right. Yeah. Diet Coke racist.
Yeah. And we
feel
don't know what grade of that he is.
we've all said
Doesn't
things
make
that
it
were offensive that we didn't know were offensive.
You
and
learned.
Then we've
That's
learned
the
from
Then
them.
you try not.
But that's not Trump.
That's
he knows
not
what,
what
he's
Trump
saying.
is. No.
He's not just
Okay.
racist.
All right.
He's bigoted and prejudiced in all ways.
I long for the good old days when racists were proud to be racist.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
days,
You knew.
you call a bitch a racist and they offended.
Last
They're offended.
I would never.
Last thought on this headline. I want to point out to you. Allow me to take a minor detour to the observation. I don't think what you're saying really has much relevance. And the reason I don't think you have much relevance in what you're saying is because this hashtag walk away movement is likely going to be highly successful.
Yep.
Walk away is designed by the Republicans and the conservative movement in support of Trump to not convince Black America or Latino America, certainly not trans America, certainly not gay America, certainly not whatever America. They only want this much of each of these groups because they realize if they get 3 to 5%, maybe 8% walk away, either to not vote or to support Donald Trump, they win the election on November 3rd, 2020.
The thing is,
we
already happened.
must keep that in front of us. It's not designed to win the popular.
Right.
It's designed to win this much of you.
When I
We
went
gotta
to World
And
Pride, they
I
already
wanna-
had them.
I want to move on to show you an example of it. Our final headline. An interesting commercial came out about the #1 voting bloc in America. By the way, do y'all know who that is? None of you are a member of it. I am.
Yeah.
You know who it is?
It's all about
Old
you.
people.
Older, white, privileged people.
I didn't want to call it out like Josie did.
Okay. I wear the badge proud because I'm the privileged one at the table and in America. Wear it proud. It's how you use your power which is important. A very interesting observation to this. Watch this.
Dear young people,
Don't vote.
don't vote.
Everything's fine the way it is.
Trump. That was us.
He's our guy.
Tax cuts for the rich? Hell yeah. I'm rich as fuck.
Climate change? That's a you problem. I'll be dead soon. Sure, school shootings are sad.
But I haven't been in a school for 50 years.
I can't keep track of which lives matter.
Sure you don't like it. So, you'll like some meme on Instagram.
If the weather is nice, maybe you could go to one of those little marches.
You might even share this video on Facebook.
But you won't vote.
You young people never do.
But I do. I do.
I do.
Midterms, primaries.
Every single election.
We'll be there, but you won't.
Because we're a generation of doers.
Not whiners.
And we're doing great.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Powerful.
Any
Y'all.
comments?
Come on. Don't do this to us. Come on. We got 3 millennials
No.
at this table here.
Yeah.
We all know.
I think it's actually genius. The only way to get people to do something is to make them pissed off. So good. Remind people of their grandmother nagging them. Do whatever
Just
it
like
takes.
the Trump $20 bill.
reverse psychology.
It is, but let me tell you
That
something.
hurt
Here,
me so deeply.
America, something you wouldn't know. I happen to.
Oh.
Here in Florida, there's the largest retirement community in the world. It's called the Villages. There's 1,000 members of a rainbow club, by the way, in the Villages. 100,000 people, all seniors, living behind gate. It's like the Magic Kingdom, Disney's Magic Kingdom, for senior citizens. Seriously. And as a result, George Bush in 2000, in 2004, the candidate in 2008, the candidate in 2012, and Donald Trump have all landed their plane in this isolated little community called the Villages in north central Florida. Why? Because that's true.
Yeah.
What do y'all think, millennials?
The last election was the only time that my grandparents and me ever voted the same way.
Wow.
Because my grandparents even saw that Trump was a fucking idiot. So, considering that most of my relatives are hardcore Republicans and they could see it, told me that there was more common ground in seeing a crazy person than not. And I also believe that people vote in their best interest. And if you're in your best interest is that opinion, they're going to vote the way they're going to vote no matter what we say.
See, but there's the problem. The people that are voting don't care anything about you.
Exactly.
And more importantly, the people in the gay community that are you don't care enough either.
So really, go visit your grandparents, because if you haven't visited them, they don't care about your rights.
Well,
it's really.
I would like to say something that you just pointed out about how this relates to the gay community specifically. And I'm really glad that we showed this, because I keep saying this on social media, that if some of these young children gave enough of a damn about voting as they did about RuPaul's Drag Race season finale, we would change the whole motherfucking world.
And
we would change the whole world.
I want to move out of headlines, but to say to you, America, stay tuned. We're getting ready to bring a young conservative Republican onto the panel in just a few minutes, and we're going to ask that exact specific question. Let's move out of our headlines this week. There were many very interesting ones. I like to end headlines by doing what? My favorite thing. Shagging and marrying and shopping.
I thought we were going to
So
play
let's
Swallow That
play
again. I got excited.
Shag, Marry, Chop. We're getting ready to play Shag, Marry, Chop. Play along with us at home as we show you this. Don't show yet, please. We
afraid.
are choosing. I'm going to ask each of our hosts, who would you shag? Everybody understand the English word shag?
Yeah.
Groovy, baby.
Who are you going to marry?
I have
And
British
we
citizenship, I
use
get it.
Chop because we try to keep
The
power
violence down a little bit.
out of federal prison.
We
Read
don't
about
gotta choose
it.
people at the table this time,
Exactly
do we?
right. All right, Shag, Marry, Chop. In honor of Jack Thompson, the winner of 2019's Mr. IML, let's do a little bit of a leather tribute. For Shag,
Finally!
Marry,
That's all it
Chop.
takes.
Here we go.
I'm here.
Let's
I'm
watch.
here to
We
help.
needed a real
You're
leather
here-
person.
It just takes royalty.
All right, here we go. Let's look at our Shag, Marry, Chop. First, Adam Rippon or Michael Jordan or Timothy Chalamet. Who wants to start? Let's wait for Mr. IML to be last.
All right, I'm shagging Michael. Hello. All right.
Wait, we learned last week that there's a reason why you would shag a big black boy.
Dun dun dun. Did we learn this?
Oh, I'm here
Oh, that
for
was
this.
highly inappropriate.
Wait,
wasn't it?
I'm here for this explanation. Wait a
Jared,
minute.
play it back.
Right. All right.
BBC
That was a
for
joke,
Josie.
America.
Anyways,
Shame the shame.
so I'm gonna go ahead and shag Michael.
Right.
I think I would marry. I don't even know because this is very difficult. Because I don't even know. Actually, you know what? Let's take that back. Okay. I'm gonna shag Timothy because I'll top his ass. I will.
And the crowd went wild.
And that's why I would make out with you, Chef Josie.
I'm a little uncomfortable here at the table now.
You ought to be.
And I'm gonna go ahead and marry Michael for the same reasons I wanted to shag him.
Oh, you're going to get it more often. I got it.
And then we're gonna just chop Adam.
Adam's gone.
Who even?
All right.
He has too much attitude.
All right. Who else?
I am going to. Okay, so we're doing shag, marry, chop. So I am going to shag Michael B. Jordan.
You wait. Power and Napoleon have been on since we went on air, September 20, 2018. We're getting ready on September 25th to celebrate our 1-year anniversary, and you're just now going, oh, wait, is this called Shag, Marry, Chop?
Really? I just want to go in order tonight.
Okay. Finally.
So,
Finally.
I'm going to shag Michael B. Jordan,
Okay.
even though whatever he's wearing looks like a bra, so that's kind of a turn-off. But,
I'm curious,
That
if you're
floral look
shagging
is really
Michael,
working for
are you
him.
the top or the bottom?
I'm both.
Both.
I'm both.
Oh, you're so damn politically correct. All right.
Yes.
Who are you marrying?
Yes. I'm going to marry Adam Rippon because I think he is just so
He is
hot.
adorable.
So hot. And I don't know who that child is, so
Timothy.
he's
You should call him by his name, okay?
Okay.
Child.
No,
really
all right,
pretty.
Who's next?
For me, I'll go.
Tiny Tim.
Shag is definitely going to be Adam Rippon. I think that could be fun once, but I think I'd get very tired of him very quickly. I've only seen him around in that. Michael B.
Relatable.
Jordan.
Wait, did it dawn on you that he might get tired of you very quickly?
Absolutely
Did that even
not.
We all
cross your mind?
Isn't that the point? Like, he's a skater, right? He could just
Did
go
you hear
off.
Aaron? We're there.
He can scooch.
Not me.
Stop.
Scooch.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Get that.
You're shagging Adam. What else?
I would marry Michael B. Jordan, firstly, because anyone that's a superhero or supervillain anywhere is automatically getting me salivating. But he also is very sexy, and that looks like one of the only things that I could actually grab and it wouldn't
He's
break.
the one that's in the new Fast and Furious movie, right?
He's in better
plays
movies.
Isn't everybody in Fast and
yeah.
Furious?
He is
What?
Killmonger,
Yeah.
and that's all.
He's in
that
like good
what is
movies.
He's in the Fast and Furious.
Well, it's the one that is the two
News to
characters
us,
that
huh?
includes The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
That's Eldris.
Oh, really?
No,
No,
they
they
really
all
just
look
gave
at
Oh, Lord. Oh, my gosh.
You mean like
I'm
Superman?
getting ready for the read
Oh,
of
girl.
my lifetime.
Oh,
wait.
thing.
Wait.
So he's
Jared Curry.
So he's
Play
black.
that back.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
my God.
You just confused Aretha Franklin from
Did
Hell.
I? Wait,
Yeah.
did
This
I?
is why you thought we were the same person.
Yeah,
Did
wait a
I just show ultimate white privilege?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
thing.
Now.
Now
It's
you-
live, America. Anything
Wait,
can happen.
America, I'm
Thank you,
sorry.
everybody. Good night.
Now
America,
you
I'm
carried the
sorry
fuck
you
on,
cannot
girl.
see Mr. Ramrod over here off camera right now. 'Cause I'm
Laughing
getting
his-
the read of a lifetime.
Wait,
Girl,
isn't that Power over
now
there,
you
not Mr.
carried-
Ramrod?
Now you carried the fuck on, girl.
All right, I'm going to try to recover and finish this show.
Try.
Good night, America. It's been great to be associated with It's Happening Out.
All right,
Go.
go. Okay, wait.
I hate you, by the way.
So
That's leftist violence.
Red.
So I have a reason for my answers.
What's yours? Okay.
So Michael B. Jordan, when he was about to do the opening for his movie in Oakland,
Oh, God.
asked
Boy, did
my-
I get it wrong.
asked my little sister out when he was out to dinner at the restaurant she was working at and asked her to go to the premiere with her, and she said no. And I, to this day, I'm like, do you know that you could have got me to the premiere of Black Panther if you had just said
Wait.
yes?
Oh.
So something about not being all the way baked through cornbread, I think. Is that the saying?
All right.
Say that back.
But also, on the other side of that, I'm like, you asked my little sister out, so chop. I'm a very overprotective older brother.
That toxic masculinity, I know.
I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just like, no.
Wait, did you just call the trans first person of color who is Mr. IML toxic masculine?
Well,
did you just say that?
I'm very protective of my baby
Tendencies,
sister.
tendencies.
It's a
All right.
thing. We'll
All
talk
right.
about it on another
Yeah,
show.
on
Oh,
another
yeah.
show.
The untucked version.
Tiny Tim,
Tiny Tim? Why do you?
I could probably top him, so I'm gonna say Shag, and I'll marry Adam.
Marry Adam. All right.
Because he makes that whole outfit actually work, as opposed to the other ones. It doesn't look like they added it on for pleasure.
All right.
So, there we go.
I'm still living in my faux pas, so I have forgotten who has answered these questions. Have we covered everybody? Everybody? Oh, Aaron. All right.
Ah, Jesus. Come on, y'all don't already know. All right.
We should guess Aaron's.
I'm obviously going out of order too on purpose. I'm going to marry Anthony B. Jordan, and I'm going to fuck Killmonger, and I'm going to chop the other two. That counts.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair.
All right. As you can see,
So some role play while you're doing it.
Yeah,
I'm
not asking for everyone to change the rules.
as you can see,
fun.
this has probably not been my finest performance of Shaq.
Idris Elba's going to sue this show.
Right, exactly. And by the way, fuck you all. Fuck you all. All right. Well, we're getting ready to let Jack take a break because we probably have worn him out, and we have another guy.
Oh, you ain't worn me out.
We'll try more later.
But you're not going to move yet. We're going to move into a segment that we talked about in Happening Now. Now, Happening Now are some of the big issues of the day. And the big issue of the day is It's Happening Out. And in Happening Now, we are telling you about Civil War comes to It's Happening Out. And basically, gays for Trump are out of the show. And we're going to tell you about that here, about gays for Trump.
I don't need everybody else to applaud with me, honey. I'm applauding.
No. All right. So first off, let us set up what has been going on and watch this video.
It has no reference on sexual orientation or whatever. It's best who fits the job. Like President Trump has hired gays,
No. We're not going there.
and black. It's who is best to do the job. If these people are the best ones to do the job, let them have the job.
America, I wish you could be sitting in my seat and see the sea of booing that just took place.
But I am correct. It's
20
drag queen
seconds.
to drag queen. We respect each other. We're adults. These are children who do not need to have drag queens talking to them. Drag queens need to be going to the assisted living and the nursing homes and uplifting them.
May I
not
ask,
confusing
please,
these
allow me.
children.
Why is this confusing for children?
Because they don't know. They're little
They don't know
kids.
what? That people
They don't
exist at different
know.
sexualities and that different types
You're
of...
forcing it onto them that they do not need. They need to be fucking children.
They are children.
And
Other people
play
exist.
games and Barbie dolls.
Andrew,
trucks.
why are you
That's
screaming?
forcing straight
Why are you
bullshit onto
screaming?
them. So.
Because I couldn't hear myself.
Wait.
And I
not.
wish I had somebody
Wait.
like that to be a role model for me.
May,
We have
Andrew,
gotten away.
you're screaming. You're screaming.
We have gotten away from God, Christian,
Wait.
and
Well, let's be
the,
thankful for
the
that.
Pledge of Allegiance of the flag.
Let's be
and
thankful
a
for
moment
that.
of silence.
Andrew,
These children need
You're
to
talking
be
over me.
children, and I will talk over you because I'm very passionate
You
about
choose to. America, Andrew chooses to talk over me.
To your question, Al, I do fear that we are at the point now where, yes, we're going to start seeing riots in the street and civil war. I've never feared for that before, but I actually, at 47 years old, for the first time in my life, actually see that as a reality.
Civil War is in our cultural zeitgeist right now. It may seem petty, but in 2016 and the years leading up to it, it wasn't just Trump, but it was exemplified through him. All of media, we had examples of Civil War, Civil War, Civil War. The biggest movie of that year was MCU's Civil War, Batman versus Superman. The idea of people fighting in their own home is what's living in our country right now, in all of our media and everything. And
That's what I brought up last week when I said this is the rise and fall of civilizations. This is how it goes. Listen, war history is like my passion, okay? When I'm not out being the trans token, I'm actually studying and reading things. And a lot of what we're seeing, almost everything about what we're seeing, is not special. It's not new. Americans need to wake up and realize that just because it's never happened in our backyard before does not mean that it's not possible. Power, you said it yourself. At 47 years old, you've never even stopped and considered that maybe this could happen here.
Right.
Maybe the bombs could go off here.
Right.
The last time that the bombs went off here, we put people in camps just for looking like those people, just for looking like the other and the enemy. We put people in internment camps, which is our Diet Coke version of concentration camps, let's be real. Okay, as soon as the bombs start going off in our own backyard, we completely turn into the exact kind of tyrants that we think we're fighting against. This is not, America has not ever forgotten who we are. This is America. This is how America was built. This is the kind of genocidal shit that America was built on. This is how America has kept itself where it is all of these years.
I know. Well, America, I could give you 50 more minutes of that over the last number of weeks. The reason we're doing this segment is we're concerned, to be honest with you. We're concerned about the level of discourse going on in America, going on in the gay community, and now we're concerned about the level of discourse going on and it's happening out. Over the weekend, after this show last Wednesday, after the show, most of the hosts have made a joke about they wish the cameras would have been rolling in terms of an interaction that I was directly involved in, which was frankly beyond what I feel like I should be involved in, and I regretted it. We're in a situation over the next number of days, social media exploded. And many things went back and forth and back and forth. And basically, we agreed that we couldn't agree in terms of the move forward. And in all fairness, I will say in disclosure, the reason that we're talking about this, I have respect for Andrew Brett. I have respect for conservative opinion. You heard me last week saying I'm one of the big proponents in America. But at the end of the day, Andrew made the decision he would not participate in this. Or we would have made the decision that you're not going to participate in this. So gays for Trump are out. They're out of It's Happening Out. So before we get into this conversation about what we see going on in the show, I want to conveniently introduce Michael Fittro. And welcome, Michael.
Yeah, someone came to the table.
Michael came to our attention because last week, being a Republican here in Florida, in Pinellas County on the West Coast, he is leading a program for the Republican Party called the Next Generation Caucus. And in fact, tomorrow, he is working a program for the Republican Party that is designed to recruit and elicit support from young people. It can be gay, it doesn't have to be gay, but young people for the Republican Party and presumably everything that goes along with that. So Michael, first off, welcome to It's Happening Out.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Michael came to our attention because while this event was going on, he was very active in our stream, and he was very active against the conservative arguments that were being made in the show. He was very clear about that.
Yes.
And we thought, wow, this is a perfect opportunity to fold Michael into our conversation about Civil War, about what is going on. First off, Michael, tell us a little bit about you. First, I understand, you're 24 years old.
Yes.
You're a Republican.
Yes.
You are leading this event tomorrow for the Republican Party for this caucus to encourage young people to do that. Your story was interesting because first, you've come through conversion therapy.
I have.
Tell us a little about that first.
So, first I want people to know conversion therapy has a lot of different faces. It's not always a summer camp you're sent to. A lot of things are done strategically within the religious organizations, and it spans multiple. It's not just Christianity, but I was affected by Christian conversion therapy. I went every Sunday to an evangelical it was led by a Spanish reverend, and it was like a bilingual church. And they spoke in tongues. It was evangelical, end of times church. And amongst myself, there were other people there. They were trying to deliver evil spirits from us. There were even children out to the ages of 13 in the same room as me. And they would divide us off. A lot of the children would be whether they were under chairs and corners crying, if they were like screaming out to God in tongues to save them, because these 13-year-olds were told they were going to be burning in hell and in Hades for the rest of their lives for sins, and they don't understand that. You don't get that as a child. I'm
curious, as you went through that entire process, did you complete the conversion therapy?
No, it was something that was going to be continuous until I felt, it was gone, or if I got married to a woman. It wasn't necessarily just a program. It was a doctrine. It was a,
You don't graduate
we watch what you watch on TV. You can't listen to this kind of music. You can't read this literature.
So
you can't talk to
the
these
end
people.
result is you were able to get out of the conversion therapy program.
Yes, I remember they would bring me up to the altar, and they would put oil on my face, start screaming in tongues, shake me. They wrap me up in a blanket. They would put me at the foot of the altar and start trying to deliver demons from me and stuff. And I remember laying there, and I remembered a Bible verse, for reference, I'm actually in the process of converting to Judaism. A family took me in at 10 that helped raise me. I've been in the Jewish community for over 14 years. I remembered a Bible verse, and it said, be hot or cold, do not be lukewarm. I'll spit you out of my mouth. And I went, laying under the blanket, I went, am I here trying to hide and fix myself for God or for how people see me? And I decided at that point, the only way I could be authentic with God and be able to talk to God and also talk to myself is to be able to be authentic with myself first, or else I'm going to God as a lie.
Okay.
And so I accepted myself. God does not make trash. And, I unfortunately, not unfortunately, I fortunately found strength in that to come out of it, but it wasn't without community, which is a privilege. I was privileged because I had people that were willing to work with me to help make sure not only did I not kill myself, but that I made it through and kept going. And so many people, especially people of color, do not have that because of such stigmas with sexuality and with so many things, that I was fortunate enough to have a privilege to have a community support me.
So you go through this evolutionary process. How through the process of your teenage years into your early 20s does it lead you to the Republican Party? Explain that to us.
So I was raised in a Republican family. My great-grandparents, my nanny, who's still alive, Teresa Susanna Nicola Brown, her parents came here on the bottom of a ship from St. Bartholomew, Italy in 1907, years before Mussolini took fascist power. And we believe in liberty in life, in independence, self-sustainability, community action before relying on a governmental body to be the ones that we have to depend on because of the fear we have and the watchdog body, the spirit that we have of that entity taking over our lives and us having to answer to them like they are the final authority when we're a citizens government run by citizens, how it's supposed to be.
I ain't a Republican, but I feel all that.
Yeah, and so I got involved in politics. I got involved in theater, all this other stuff, and then I got involved in politics in 2012. I actually volunteered and worked the Barack Obama campaign for his re-election.
You worked for Barack Obama?
Yes, absolutely.
So you were a Republican then?
I was only 17. I couldn't vote anyways, but I wanted to do my part, and I felt out of both. I was really inspired by President Obama. I was inspired.
For the purposes of time, I want to try to get into where you're at this point. How did you get involved with the Republicans and do something like this Next Generation Caucus? How did you get to that?
I was simultaneously leaving We Are Woman for the Hillary Clinton campaign. I was working for her re-election, and I actually got on a state House race to elect a Republican for the House of Representatives. We were victorious. And the people that I worked for were the aberrations of the Republican Party. She championed mental health and drug addiction policy, reformed all the policy at the state level to make sure no race, no anything, financial situation barred you from mental health and treatment rather than criminalization. And so working with them, working with another Republican that worked on education, I felt that I found a place where as long as we conservatively and watchdogly, rather, approached this policy, it's not rather the policy that we need to slash, it's taking a cautious step in terms of writing the policy to make sure it's the most efficient, not overspending, not anything else, but making sure we get there.
You're trying to be the Trojan horse and work on it from the inside, basically, is...
Well, it's not even just working from the inside. It's really, taking my beliefs of limiting the government. I believe in limiting politicians' power on how to, as the gay community, and from police riots and fighting police riots and trying to build our community and be human.
We're going to get too complicated into the story. Let's move it to this Civil War story that we're telling about what happened last week.
Okay.
You were actively involved in the string and you started to communicate. So you watched some samples of what happened last week. Tell us about what your reaction in watching the show was last week, and what do you think about where we're at in terms of how the gay community is communicating of of conservative versus liberal and all of the implications of that. What do you think about that?
Well, from watching last week, I got really bothered. As a viewer, I'm here because I'm a viewer, and I was watching, and I was really appalled by what, the conservative host, Andrew, was saying. I particularly got very upset when they were talking about Drag Story Hour and making it seem like our lifestyle was a choice and not a lifestyle. I came to the conclusion he's medically a homosexual, but he's not gay because he can't accept himself. And so I sat there and went, you are stating that we are an option. You are affirming the belief of the people that are the ones oppressing us. I'm not here to impress and try to win over the people that are oppressing me. I'm here to tell them this is who I am, this is how it's going to be, and no government can tell me which way or the other, and I will make sure that no government can hold over anything over our community. Amen. And so I believe in limiting that body for the simple fact that they shouldn't tell me what to do
But
and
what
how to live.
happened? But what happened? Because I agree with all of that. Okay, I broke away from the Democratic Party too. I went a different route, granted, but I get all of that. But how do you reconcile that with where the Republican Party is at now? Because I think Power would agree that we didn't have a problem with Republicans before it turned into what it is today.
Correct.
Maybe, okay, that's not
Wait,
my memory, but
there's a really good question to answer. How do you reconcile what you just said, which seemed very reasonable,
Totally illogical,
with what the platform position in America is for so many Republicans?
I don't reconcile it. I simply don't. I reject any form of fascism, white nationalism. I reject any form of homophobia, transphobia, and I'll fight against it, As a Republican, I don't believe in a super strong executive. I don't believe in kings. And to just say, today he said he was the king of Israel and that any Jew that doesn't vote for him, and he's the chosen one, which he said, which is sounding more like the
you're talking about
Antichrist.
Trump?
Yes. I believe in that dissent. I believe in that checking that authority, and I believe what drawed me to republicanism and to criticize, where we are now and how I don't reconcile is if we'll call out any executive authority, and we were such a watchdog during the Obama years, why aren't we a watchdog now and calling a spade a spade? Because I'll call a spade a spade, and what's going on right now is wrong, and there's something that just sits inside me where if policy is written and it's in a wrong clock is right twice a day, I'm gonna support something that will be right. But there's double speak going on, and I tried looking through the lens of he's holding the flag, he's this and that, and then there's double speak. But you can say anything, but if your policy doesn't reflect it, and you are not rejecting and making policy around the people in that support you that are harming that community, you don't support us.
Well, Michael, that goes right to the heart of like what you're doing tomorrow. With the Next Generation Caucus. It's designed to bring young people into the Republican Party, starting at 18 years old and up. Doesn't have to be gay, can be gay or straight.
Yeah.
But that attempt in terms of a young person's enticement into the Republican Party, how do you feel about your observations that you're making as a young Republican, but how it actually may turn into using those people that come in to support some of the extraneous things that you're criticizing? I don't understand. There's a disconnect there. How do you reconcile that disconnect?
So for me, and what this caucus is, and they appointed me, they asked me to be the chairman of this caucus. I'm in this because I know the Republican Party has been around longer and will be around after President Donald Trump. And what I'm here to do is to make sure that the values I have as a watchdog of the government, not policy. I believe in policy. I believe in, this might sound crazy to some people that might be watching this that are colleagues of mine. I believe in a well thought out public option for healthcare and for college education. I don't believe in just universal for every single person in the world. If you come from a billionaire, multimillionaire family.
Wait. We could get into many of these observations. Let's try moving to 10,000 feet.
Okay.
The observation to me that is interesting is young millennial sitting at the table. We have other young millennials that represent a different point of view, different party, different beliefs. Mm-hmm. Young Republican millennial who is going to fundamentally help the Republicans tomorrow on this new caucus. Mm-hmm. If that is what you're saying, your recruitment process is to try to find the reasonableness that you're talking about?
Well, absolutely. And when I approach people to join, when I've invited people, I've talked to independents about it, people that are more open to
Tried
the
to
right.
recruit me. I wasn't going for it.
I
it
flashed all the money I
almost
could, and it didn't work. But I do try to find those people that are, level-headed, reasonable, that can see multiple sides of everything. And I want to find a place where people don't feel like they belong to join. And, as the anomaly that I am, rather, leading that, people that come in see that, and they know what they're coming to approach. And
You remind me a lot of when we had, what was her name? Jerry Ann, maybe?
Yeah, Jerry Lynn.
Jerry Lynn, who was the executive director of Log Cabin Republicans. I know you're not part of that group, but she had the same, that she kind of struck me in a place that makes sense when she said, I've cried over this party platform too. I'm just I'm sitting at the table trying to subvert it or trying to, do something about it and work from the inside. I get that because that's where I'm at with the Democratic Party too.
There's the bullseye of this conversation. Go ahead, Napoleon. I'll come back to that. Go ahead.
It's changing topics a little bit because I honestly.
Well, wait. Before you do, there's the bullseye of the conversation. The bullseye of the conversation, like Jerry Lynn, who's the executive director of the Log Cabin Republicans in Washington. How do we find common ground to propel your interest, but to have a respectful dialogue to get to that common ground? This topic about Civil War and it's happening out is we couldn't. It was so polarized extreme, there was no possibility of doing that. So how do we do that? How do we do
Are we
that?
just supposed to not feed y'all after midnight, or like what's the missing link here?
I thought the reason we had him and Mr. IML here was to torture him on camera and make him an example for the rest of the country. Is that not happening?
That sounds like a good time. So, I mean, you got to be careful what you're asking for.
I do have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
I'm not really understanding. You call yourself a Republican. A lot of the credentials I hear are about your support for Hillary, your support for Obama. I think you even mentioned earlier today that something happened with Bernie, and that was what got you off that path just a couple of years ago. What makes you a Republican? It doesn't really matter to me, but I do have the question. Do you support Trump?
I did not vote for President Trump, and I'm not voting for President Trump in 2020.
So what do you think is going to happen for all of these people you're recruiting to vote for Trump? Do you think that they will recruit to the Republican Party and then defect to some other president?
I'm recruiting people for the Republican Party that believe in limited government, that believe in the policy belief of writing it efficiently, writing it in a way that can cover, all forms of life. And for the record, social politics for me that I believe in, that we're fighting against, is the government. I believe in live, technically, a lot of way the left lives personally as in my politics, because the government shouldn't be involved in it anyway, and we shouldn't have to fight them for where we are anyway. So I believe in limiting the government and their ability to tell us what we can and can't do, what we can and can't be, and just focus on the policy that has to do with education and the things that have to do with public funding, and they cannot take any public funding away from any citizen based on any...
The Republican Party moved so far away from that.
I go back to why you're a Republican.
Because...
No, let me finish, please, because that doesn't mean that to me. The Republican Party, to me, is the group that doesn't let anything go to policy. How can you support Mitch McConnell under-eating at the way of our entire democracy, blocking anything for human rights to get even voted upon, and say that the policies are what's going to help? It doesn't matter. How many things did he block this year? Hundreds.
You made your point. How can you accomplish that? How can you do both? Be a Republican, recruit, and support Mitch McConnell.
Well, I don't support Mitch McConnell. I call out Mitch McConnell all the time. There's factions of parties, and I will say this just for reference, just like, when Secretary Clinton invested in private prisons, called black people super predators, banned gay marriage, blocked gay marriage, made sure that corporations had more welfare, did all the things we're upset about, and we still would vote for her for president, we forget our history. And so for me, I'm a Republican since before Trump and after Trump, and my beliefs don't change, and I'm not going to sacrifice certain beliefs just because of one president.
I want to leave that soundbite on the table, and let's stop and leave that soundbite on the table, because I think that is the heart of the moment of our go forward now. We are going to, America, we're going to reformulate. We have 15 months until this election as it relates to politics, and that's only one aspect of it's happening out. That's where we're going to try to find what are the reasonable balances of what we want to pursue. Final questions that I want to do on this topic about Civil War. What do you think about the decision here to not work in the current way that we were doing with the conservative representative that was here? What do you think?
I went on social media, and on my social media page, and I actually made a video saying how I thought it was important that we had his voice on the panel. It is unfortunate that it didn't work out. I do still think that the conservative view, the Republican voice, should have a place at this table because we here at It's Happening Out, we want to represent the diversity of our community, even if we don't really like
Well, and not only that, but even if you don't like it, listen, I've had a lot of text messages and emails in the last few weeks about what are you doing on that show?
Yeah.
I can't believe you're associated with that. They're giving him a platform. This is dangerous. I get it. I get the knee-jerk reaction. But here's the thing. We, whether it's leftists, Democrats, liberals, whatever, have been, trans people especially, we just kind of like got sick and tired of it and started blocking people like Andrew. We started blocking Trump supporters. We started blocking Republicans, whether they were Trump supporters or not, and said, I'm just done dealing with it. And that was a self-care move at the time, but we're getting real close, y'all. 2020 November is coming real fucking quick.
Well, and
we're at a point where we've got to take our blinders off. It's time to unblock your Trump supporting friends. I'm sorry. It's time to unblock them because you've got to stay vigilant and aware. I was getting to the point of apathetic and not sure if I was even going to vote.
No.
Okay? And when Andrew sat here and reminded me of exactly what we're up against, that relit the fire. You got to let the fire get relit.
I'm going to give Josie the last comment.
It's also about this. You know, when I've been an activist my entire life, okay? When we're having conversations about creating solutions around a challenge, a social challenge, it's about bringing every stakeholder to the table. Yeah. And if we don't allow that voice at the table, however crazy as it might be, you know, listen, I honor Andrew for being a stand for his own beliefs. You know what? The United States of America allows us all to do exactly that. But we must continue the conversation with each stakeholder at the table if we're going to come to a true solution.
Right, especially the ones we disagree with.
Yeah, at this table, but I'm not unblocking none of y'all.
Yeah. I want to... Wait, did you block me?
I mean the Trump supporters.
I was going to say, I'm going to, right after this show, I'm going to go into my social media and see if Power blocks me.
Y'all can come to this table. I'm coming on my page.
The last thing that I want to say, and I know Andrew is watching right now. Andrew, I like you. You're my friend. I appreciated what you did. Frequently, I disagreed with what you said. However, I want to make sure I'm crystal clear as moderator at It's Happening Out. I have the same obligation to propel your opinion as Aaron's opinion. Your opinion or a lesbian's opinion, Josie's. Your opinion or a conservative young Republican millennial, or. You were welcomed at It's Happening Out. I'm sorry that this was the conclusion to you. You're a nice person. And let's never confuse the personality and our political beliefs.
Yes.
They cannot be mixed together.
Yeah.
You are worth it. All right. Our final thing that we'd
Come on,
like
man,
to
get in
do
the ring. I'd love to go again.
is my new favorite thing. And I'm going to go through it real quick, asking you what your new favorite things are this week. And let's start with Power. Power, what's your new favorite thing?
My new favorite thing, well, it's not of this week. It's left over from last week, but it's still my new favorite thing.
You just
Chris
got right.
Cuomo.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Cuomo.
He just makes my pussy percolate.
Yes.
Especially with how butch he got last week when somebody ran up in his face.
Oh, you heard that?
Is there something going on in that picture?
All right,
then, Power?
Napoleon, tell us about your new favorite thing.
My new favorite thing is the newest theme park to be announced for Orlando. It is the fourth. I know it's the fourth theme park to come to Universal, and it's called Epic Universe. It's gonna have Nintendo. It might have some other Dreamcast characters. It's gonna have. There's so much. I'm so excited. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh, dude, you're such
I'll
a
go
geek.
with you.
You are such a geek. And Josie, tell us about your...
Together.
Oh, yeah. Well, my new favorite thing is Liquid Chakra. And this is actually, I'm super excited to announce this is my new wellness company committed to igniting inspiration, unleashing human potential, and eliminating pain. Our CBD is going to be available to you as soon as possible. You can visit our Instagram
after the
page.
show.
All right.
Liquid Chakra.
All right, very good. And Aaron, tell us what your new favorite thing is.
So my new favorite thing isn't a shameless plug, but it might save my life one
Shameless
day.
plug.
it might save my life one day. And if you know or have a loved one who has a mental illness, it might save theirs too. So save this in your phone right now. It's really simple. It's 211. Instead of, before resorting to 911, if a person is in a situation of mental health crisis, police are not necessarily trained in that. So all you've got to do is dial 211, and it will direct you to
And while you're explaining that, we have a
resources.
slide about severe mental
Yes,
illness
yes,
in
perfect.
America.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, for
15 more seconds.
such a small percentage of the population, we come into a lot of situations of danger when we're not supported in the proper ways. So 211.org, find out if it's in your area. It covers 98% of the U.S.
Yeah, that sounds great. 211. I'll make sure I do that right after the show. Okay, America. Michael, thank you for being here. We're going to have Jack rejoin us in a moment, but we're at the end of our show, and of course that means we're hungry, and that means Jet's Pizza. Woo. And I think Thomas is here. If Thomas is here, Thomas, come right over here. And let's, you're going to get between Aaron and Power.
Yeah, you are.
Woo! And you're going to show us this. What pizza did you bring us?
Pepperoni.
Oh, the pepperoni deep dish. It is so nice. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
How about yours?
It just got better.
It's been good. Have you done anything fun this
Aaron?
week? Thomas, I'm curious. We have the 2019 first trans man of color, person of color, as Mr. IML. Is that interesting to you in any way?
No, he's standing next to me.
All right.
What the hell?
One trans person, they're all that. No, that's not true.
You can't say that after your
All
mistake
right.
earlier.
I know. It's a joke.
Again
Thank
now.
you, Thomas. Thank you. Good seeing you this week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
I know. I have so many people talking to me, America. And Jack, we are going to bring back in, and we're going to say goodnight, everybody.
Yay!
And again, we congratulate this young man of being the 2019 Mr. IML. Quite an honor in meeting you. We're getting ready to go to Ramrod and have some fun. If you're in South Florida, come to Ramrod and meet Mr. Ramrod. It's a great bar in our community. So we're going to say goodnight, and we're going to start with Michael. Michael.
Good night, everybody, and remember to vote your conscience.
And Power Infiniti.
Good night, children. And as you guys see, if it's happening right here, and it's happening out.
Good night, gender fuckers. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, keep your hearts open.
Shade.
Shade. Wait, you're not Mr. IML.
That was that toxic masculinity again. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right?
I'll work
Anything
for
you'd
it
like
later.
to say?
Good night, and remember that you are enough.
You are enough. Very nice. And my friend Josie?
Good night, humans. I see you. I believe in you. And we all know we're connected.
And my friend Napoleon plays.
Good night, youngins. We finally managed to overtake the elderly at this table for the first time ever.
No, we just
Remember to
replaced-
do this in 15 months, please.
Napoleon, we just replaced you with a younger and cuter Jew.
You know what? You know what? In honor of your president, I want to see your birth certificate. Okay? I want to see it.
All right, America.
Love
We
you,
are
youngins.
trying really hard, and it's happening out. As you know, my call to action is to have all of these kind of voices represented to gay and straight America every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Remember, my goal, our challenge, is to find gay community and the commitment to finding the value of the gay community. If you want to go on that pursuit with us, tune in every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Because if it's important to you, it's important to us. And that means it's important at It's Happening Out. Good night, America.
Good night.
Good night.